I'm so grateful to be loved by the Lord, to be loved by my family, to be loved by all of you. And I say this all the time, and when I'm talking to people, and they're asking me about my journey, as a leading lady, as a pastor's wife, as a pastor. And I, with my whole heart, am always filled with so much gratitude, so much appreciation. I don't have a horror story. Now, could I tell you some stories about some things and some folks and some run-ins and some demons and some things? Of course. But I mean, those are everywhere. People are people everywhere. But I mean when I tell you that God's people, God's house has been a tremendous blessing to me, more than I could ever think, more than I could ever ask, more than I could ever imagine. And so when I stand up here and I say that I am grateful, that it is a privilege, that it is an honor to pastor you, to lead you, to serve you, I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because you all, your commitment, your faithfulness, you all have helped me to grow. You all have grown with me. You all have seen me, and this is not even a part of my spotlight, but you all have seen me from that 18-year-old girl who didn't even know one scripture to now preaching sermons. God has been good to me through you. So I am evidence when we say that we exist to see lives changed by the gospel through the lives of changed people. Changed people in this house have changed me tremendously, and I'm forever grateful for that. And so welcome all of you here live and in color with us, all of you, our city family that are joining in and tuning in, watching us online. I am Jessica Stephenson, as you all have seen, or some here call me Lady J, Mother J, whatever. But I am her, and it is an honor and a privilege. And so we are here in our ministry moment, our Heart for the House spotlight. You guys, I told you all last week that this is something that we are being intentional about, that we want you members at the city, you people who call the city your home, who call us your pastors, we want to get the heartbeat of our church, the DNA of our church in you. And Pastor has been doing that by committing to our culture setting sessions once a month. And if you don't know that, those sessions are especially for all of you that volunteer. If you do anything here, you need and want to be in those sessions. Those sessions are for anybody who see yourself as a leader, or you see your future here at the city as a leader. You want to tune into those culture setting sessions. And last week we talked about ownership, right? We highlighted ownership because Pastor said that we here at the city, that we don't just come to receive, we don't just come to see what the kids' space looks like. We don't just come to see what we have to offer for our babies and our big babies, and how is the worship, and what do they do, and how long service is, and what kind of word the pastors preach. No, we don't come just to receive, but we come also to give. That we are not just receivers, but we are feeders. And feeders look for opportunities. Feeders look for ways that we can pour out, that we too can be a blessing and a service to God's house. And so again, last week's word was ownership, and this week's word is intentionality. Somebody say intentionality. Intentionality. The definition of intentionality is it is to have a mind or an attitude of purposefulness, coupled with a commitment to deliberate action. So what is your intent when you walk through the doors? What is your intent when you wake up in the morning? What is your intent when you go out into the world? When you enter into whatever sphere of influence God has given you? What is your intent? Is your intent just to show up and say, I'm here, just to show up and receive? Or is your intent to make an impact, to make a difference, to make a change? To be intentional. In order to be intentional, that means again that my mindset has to be one that I'm doing. There's a purpose and there's a purposefulness to the way that I live, to the way that I walk, to the way that I talk, and then I couple that with deliberate action. Right? When we think about being intentional, I want us to reflect on Hebrews chapter 10, verses 23 through 25, and it reads, "Let us hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who promised is faithful." And here we go, 24. "And let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works, not neglecting to meet together as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near." And so if we focus in on verse 24, it says, let us consider how to stir one another up to love and good works. In order to consider, there has to be a commitment to be concerned for not just myself, but my brother and my sister. Understand that in our home, Pastor and I, we together collectively here recently, we set out another vision for us. We put another vision in place for ourselves. And, we've been going hard and doing all the healthy things and adapting and adjusting and all the things because quite honestly, our bodies just don't work like they used to. Our digestive systems just don't work like they used to. And so we've had to make some adjustments and some changes. And so we've done this as a house, and Pastor, don't bring that in. Don't cook this. Don't do. And we've been doing real good. And so we said we want to up the ante. We want to up the ante. We want to enter into another level of sacrifice. And so here recently we said, okay, for this many weeks, we're going to cut out this. We're going to go low on this. We're going to limit this. We're going to do all these things. And great. Okay, wonderful, awesome, amazing. But 48 hours into it, 2 days into it, one of my kids went upstairs on my nightstand, grabbed the bag, came downstairs and said, before he grabbed the bag, he said, "Mama, I saw that you got a bag of now and laters. Can I have it?" And I thought to myself, well, you know what? I bought them before this commitment, before these things that we said we're going to sacrifice. Yeah, go ahead, son, with your nosy self. Go ahead and get it because I asked you to get my phone charger and you sit up here getting now and laters. Okay, go get the now and later, son. So he brings them back, and I'm into fairness and justice and all the things. So I'm counting. Let me see how many's in here. It's 4 of y'all. I'm going to divvy them up real good. And so by the time I divvied it up, there was about 3 left, because it wouldn't have been fair because somebody would have gotten left out. And so I put these 3 to the side, but one of the 3 was a now and later that I really like, the flavor that I really, really like. Y'all want to know what the flavor is? Banana! And some of y'all are haters. And so you could guess that if I like banana now and laters, I also like banana Laffy Taffies. Come on, somebody. And that also means that I like candy corn and peanuts. Don't hate. And that also means that I like Boston baked beans and lemon heads. Boom, 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 boom. I'm from the hood, y'all. So anyway. And, so I was like, man, there's 1 banana now and later left. And then we had an apple, a green apple, and a pineapple. And I was like, man, okay, my husband's at the gym, and I know we committed to do this thing, right? But my birthday is this month. Like, I know that I said I was going to just give myself a weekend, but this is March, and it's my birthday month. And if I just eat this, it's my birthday month. And then I said, well, you know what? if I eat it, I'm going to go ahead and eat it right now while he's out at the gym. And then that way he don't really have to know, and then I won't incite him and he won't get off of his commitment. But as for me and my commitment, I'm going to do this one. And so I'm going to be honest with y'all. I opened up the banana one, popped it in my mouth, chewed on it. I was like, yeah. And then I got convicted. And I said, what did you commit to? What did you commit to? What did y'all say that you guys were going to do together? What is the vision? What is the goal? What is the plan? What did you say that you were going to do? You see, because what was good to me now would not be good for me later. What was satisfying to me in that moment has the potential to sabotage our shared vision of the future. And so I decided, okay, I ate that one, but you know what? I'm going to put them other two. I'm just leave them on the counter, and one of the kids got them. I'm sure they did. And so it was not a fair or a just act in the end. And I said, you know what? You got a commitment. You got a goal. You said that you were going to do this together. City of Truth, we said we were going to do this together. One of the things that I love about Hebrews 10:24, it says, stir up one another or provoke one another. Understand that word stir up one another, it means to incite. It means to cause a stirring. It means to call a righteous riot to happen within you. It means that I am going to be so committed, that I'm going to be so intentional, that I am going to stir up some good works in somebody else. You see, because if I would have continued, understand that one of three things could have happened. I could have either stirred up good works and said, we doing this together, we all in. Or I could have aided in apathy. Oh, it's okay, it ain't that bad. Somebody else will do it, it's fine, it's cool. Or three, I could have confirmed the fact that actually you're doing this alone. I'm not in this with you. You're doing this by yourself. You're lifting this weight by yourself. This burden is up on your shoulders with just you and just a few. Not me. I'm not in this thing. But my favorite definition of stir up one another is literally to have a fit. To have a fit. To have a fit. I'm thinking about the babies. Anybody ever been in a room full of babies and then one baby starts crying? And then all of a sudden, all the other babies get a cue and they all start crying. They all start having just a fit. And it's like they're communicating with one another. The adults have no idea what this communication is because you were just fine. But all you had to do was look at little boo-boo and then you start acting like you started having a fit too. That's all that had to happen was one person, one baby had to set it off. And then the adults are scrambling, right? They're scrambling. They're trying to figure out, like, how can we, all the adults get on the same page because they're trying to calm the fits down. They're trying to stop. Okay, and the baby's like, oh, it's time to go, and you bust a move, do something. We are not calming down. And can you imagine if all of us had one intent with one commitment, that all of us, with our shared commitments, that our commitments start becoming contagious. And when our commitments become contagious, I see you showing up. I see you praising. I see you serving. I see you going what you're going through and having been what you've been through. And I see the grief is debilitating. And I see this person died and that one is sick. And I see you're going through in your marriage, but I still see a commitment in you. Can you imagine what that does to a heart? Can you imagine what that does to someone looking on? Can you imagine what that stirs up in your brother or your sister? And so this is what I want us to do. I want us to be intentional in our commitment, intentional in our showing up, intentional in our serving. Why? Because I want us to commit to stir up a fit in one another, to stir up a holy fit, a fit that is so contagious, I can't help but to react. I can't help but to get on my A game. I can't help but to sacrifice. I can't help but to set aside. Why? Because I've made a commitment. And my commitment and your commitment and his commitment and her commitment and those watching online, your commitment, it becomes contagious. So, City of Truth, I'm going to ask you for your intent to be to make somebody throw a holy fit.